There are things you see in war that change you, things you can't unsee, can't unfeel, can't wash off no matter how hard you scrub. April 29th, 1945. That's the day I stopped believing in God, or maybe started believing in the devil. I'm still not sure which. I'm Private First Class Michael Rosenberg, 45th Infantry Division, U.S. Army, 20 years old, from Brooklyn. My family came over from Poland when I was 3. We were lucky. Got out before things got really bad. My father worked in a garment factory. My mother cleaned houses. They saved every penny to bring over my grandparents, my aunts, uncles, cousins. Some made it, some didn't. We heard stories. Even before the war started, we heard stories about what was happening in Europe, to Jews, to people like us. My father would read the Yiddish newspapers and his face would go gray. My mother would cry and pray. But we were safe. We were in America. We were lucky. I enlisted in 43, 18 years old. Wanted to fight, wanted to do something. My father didn't want me to go. Said we'd already lost enough family, but I went anyway. Got trained, shipped to Europe, landed in Sicily, fought through Italy, then France, then into Germany. By April 45, we knew we were winning. Germany was collapsing. We were pushing east, the Russians were pushing west. It was almost over, just a matter of time. The officers kept telling us it would be done soon. Keep pushing, keep moving, almost there. We'd heard rumors about camps, prison camps, work camps, labor camps. The words kept changing, but the rumors stayed the same. Places where they kept people. Political prisoners, they said. Jews, they said. Others. The rumors were vague, the details unclear. We didn't know. That's what people don't understand. We didn't know what we were about to find. We were outside Munich, near a town called Dachau. Small place. Pretty in a way. Would have been nice if there wasn't a war on. We'd been moving fast, clearing towns, accepting surrenders. The German army was falling apart. Most of them just wanted to surrender to us before the Russians got them. April 29th started normal. Cold morning, overcast. We'd been on the move for days and everyone was tired. Sergeant Harris said we were clearing out some kind of facility outside town. Probably another military barracks, he said. Should be quick. We moved in formation, spread out, weapons ready, force of habit. You never knew when you'd hit resistance. But as we got closer, something felt wrong. The smell. Even from a distance, there was a smell. Sweet and rotten at the same time, like nothing I'd ever smelled before. "The hell is that?" Johnny DiMaggio said. Johnny was from Philadelphia, good kid, always smiling, always making jokes to keep morale up. He wasn't smiling then. "Dead livestock, maybe," someone else said. "Germans probably abandoned the place." But it wasn't livestock. We knew it wasn't livestock. We saw the fence first, tall, electrified, barbed wire on top, guard towers. It looked like a military installation, a prison maybe, but the smell was getting stronger, and there were sounds, not gunfire, not shelling, something else, moaning, crying, voices that didn't sound human. The gates were open. Some of the guards had fled. Some had stayed and surrendered immediately when they saw us coming. They stood there with their hands up, these SS guards in their clean uniforms, acting like they were just regular soldiers doing a job. We went in. That's when everything changed. The first thing I saw was a train, a freight train sitting on tracks inside the compound. The boxcar doors were open, and inside, bodies piled on top of each other, dozens of them in each car, skin and bones, skeletal, like something from a nightmare. Some were naked, some wore striped uniforms. All of them were dead, had been dead for days, maybe weeks, left there to rot. Johnny threw up, right there, just turned and vomited. I wanted to, but couldn't. My body had shut down, gone numb. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing. "Jesus Christ," Sergeant Harris whispered. He was a tough guy, career Army, saw action in North Africa, never showed emotion. But his voice cracked when he said it. Jesus Christ. We moved deeper into the camp. There were barracks, long wooden buildings. We opened the doors. Inside were more bodies, but these ones were moving, barely. They were alive, or something like alive. I don't have words for what they looked like. The photographs don't capture it, can't capture it. They were walking skeletons, skin stretched over bones, eyes sunken so deep they looked like skulls, wounds, sores, disease, the smell of death and decay. Some tried to walk toward us, fell down, couldn't stand, couldn't speak, just made these sounds, these horrible, weak sounds. One of them grabbed my sleeve. His hand felt like twigs, like it might break if I pulled away. He was saying something in a language I didn't understand. German, maybe, or Yiddish, or something else. His eyes were huge in his skeletal face, desperate, pleading. I didn't know what to do. I just stood there while this dying man held onto my sleeve and begged me for something I couldn't give him. "We need medics," someone was shouting. "Get the medics. Get everyone." But what were the medics supposed to do? There were thousands of them. Thousands of these walking corpses, these people who'd been systematically starved and worked and beaten and left to die. We found more. Everywhere we looked, more. In the barracks, in the yard. In buildings we didn't even know the purpose of. Bodies, living and dead. Sometimes you couldn't tell which was which. There were children. That's what broke me. Children. Kids younger than my little brother. Starved down to nothing. Barely breathing. Looking at us with those huge eyes that had seen things no child should ever see. Johnny was crying. Tough guy from Philly, crying like a baby. Sergeant Harris was cursing. Just standing there cursing in a steady stream, like if he stopped talking, he'd fall apart. I walked past a pile of bodies. Had to step around them. My boot touched something. Someone's arm. I jumped back like I'd been burned. The arm moved. Whoever it was, they were still alive. Still in that pile of corpses. Still breathing somehow. The SS guards we'd captured started trying to explain, started making excuses. We were just following orders. We didn't know. This was the camp leadership, not us. We just did our jobs. Some of our guys wanted to shoot them right there. I understood why, looking at what they'd done, what they'd been part of. Some guards did get shot, not officially, just happened. Nobody asked questions. Nobody cared. We started finding the other areas, the gas chambers, the crematoriums, places I couldn't believe existed, couldn't believe humans had built. Buildings designed specifically to kill people efficiently, to dispose of bodies industrially, murder as a system, death as a process. There were records, meticulous German records, names, numbers, dates, categories, Jews, political prisoners, Romani, homosexuals, disabled, Soviet prisoners of war, lists and lists of people, of who came in, who died, how they died, when they died. They'd kept track, they'd organized it, they'd systematized it. This wasn't chaos, this wasn't the fog of war. This was deliberate, planned, executed with German efficiency. My grandmother's name was Leah. My aunt was Sarah. My cousins were Jacob and Miriam. They didn't make it out of Poland. We lost contact in 1939. Never heard from them again. I stood there looking at those lists and I wondered, were they in a place like this? Did they die like this? Starved and beaten and worked to death? Or did they go to one of the other camps? The death camps we were hearing about? The ones that were even worse than this? A survivor approached me. He could speak a little English. Had been a teacher in Munich before the war. Jewish. Arrested in 38. 7 years in Dachau. 7 years. "You are American?" he asked. His voice was barely a whisper. "Yes. You came." Tears ran down his skeletal face. We thought no one would come. We thought the world had forgotten. I didn't know what to say because he was right. We had forgotten, or we hadn't known, or we hadn't believed, or we hadn't cared enough. How long has this been here? I asked. Since 33, he said. 12 years. The first camp. Others came after. 12 years. This had been operating for 12 years, and we hadn't known, or we hadn't stopped it, or we hadn't tried hard enough. We stayed there for days, trying to help, trying to save the ones who could be saved. The medics did what they could, but for many it was too late, too far gone, bodies that had been pushed past the point of no return. We watched them die even after we'd freed them. Died in clean beds with food available. Died because the damage was too severe. Some of our guys couldn't handle it. Broke down completely. Had to be sent to the rear. Shell shock, they called it. But this wasn't from shells. This was from seeing what humans could do to other humans when they really tried. The town of Dachau claimed they didn't know. The civilians said they had no idea what was happening in the camp. But the camp was right there. The smoke from the crematoriums, the smell, the train cars full of bodies. How could they not know? We made them come look, the whole town, forced them to walk through the camp to see what had been done in their name. Some cried, some vomited, some insisted they really didn't know. I don't know if I believe them, don't know if it matters. More journalists arrived, photographers, correspondents. They needed to document it, needed proof, because they knew nobody would believe it otherwise. Even seeing it with my own eyes, I barely believed it. The survivor who'd spoken to me, the teacher, he died 3 days after we arrived. Just died. His body gave out. 7 years of torture and starvation, and he held on just long enough to see liberation, long enough to know someone had come. Then he let go. I don't even know his name. Never asked. Never got the chance. We found more camps as we pushed deeper into Germany. Smaller ones, sub-camps. Each one the same horror, the same skeletal prisoners, the same piles of bodies, the same systematic cruelty. The war ended in May. We'd won. Germany surrendered. The camps were liberated. The survivors were freed. Justice, they said. Victory, they said. But standing in Dachau, looking at those walking skeletons, those piles of bodies, those gas chambers and crematoriums, victory felt hollow. Justice felt impossible. It's 1946 now, 1 year since Dachau. I'm back in Brooklyn, living with my parents, trying to figure out what to do with my life, trying to figure out how to be normal again. But I'm not normal. Can't be normal. Not after what I saw. I smell things that aren't there. That sweet, rotten smell from the camp. It comes back at random times. On the subway, at dinner, walking down the street. Suddenly I'm back there, standing among the bodies. I see them in my sleep. The survivors. The ones who grabbed my sleeve and begged with their eyes. The children with their skeletal faces. The piles of corpses in the train cars. The smoke from the crematoriums. My mother asks me about the war. Wants to know what it was like. I can't tell her. How do you tell your mother you saw hell? How do you describe Dachau to someone who's never seen it? She asks about my father's family, about whether I saw any signs, whether I learned anything. I lie. Tell her I didn't find out anything. Tell her it's best not to know, but I know. I know what happened to them. Maybe not specifically. Maybe not the exact camp or the exact date. But I know. I saw what they did to Jews in those camps. I saw what the Nazis were capable of. My grandparents, my aunt, my cousins, they died like that. starved, beaten, worked to death, or worse. I can't tell my mother that. Can't tell her I saw the future her family suffered. Can't describe the walking skeletons that might have been her own mother and father. So I lie. And the lie eats at me. And I dream about Dachau. People want war stories. Want to hear about combat. About battles. About heroism. They don't want to hear about Dachau. Don't want to know about the camps. It's too dark. Too horrible. Too much. So I tell them sanitized versions. Tell them we fought the Nazis, freed the prisoners, won the war. Leave out the details. Leave out the smell. Leave out the skeletal hands grabbing my sleeve. Leave out the children dying even after we saved them. Johnny DiMaggio went back to Philadelphia. Heard he's doing okay. Got a job. Got married. Moved on. I wonder if he dreams about it too. Wonder if he smells it too. Wonder if he's lying to his family the same way I'm lying to mine. Sergeant Harris stayed in the Army. Career man. Figured he might as well. Said there was no going back to normal after Dachau anyway. Might as well stay in the only world that made sense anymore. I tried going to synagogue with my father. Couldn't do it. Can't pray to a God who allowed Dachau. Can't believe in divine justice when I saw what happened in those camps. Can't reconcile faith with gas chambers. My father doesn't understand. Thinks I'm angry about the war. Thinks I'll get over it. Thinks time will heal it. But it won't. Time doesn't heal this. Time just gives you more space to remember, more nights to dream, more moments when the smell comes back and you're there again, standing among the bodies. The trials started. Nuremberg. They're prosecuting the Nazi leaders, the architects of the camps, the ones who planned it all. Good. They should hang. All of them. But the guards we captured at Dachau, the regular SS men who just followed orders, most of them will get lesser sentences. Some will go free. Some will go back to their lives. Some will pretend they were never there. And the prisoners, the survivors, what happens to them? Where do they go? Their families are dead. Their homes are destroyed. Their communities are erased. They survived the camps, but they're still prisoners. Prisoners of what was done to them. Prisoners of memory. Same as us. The liberators. We're prisoners too. Prisoners of what we saw, of what we couldn't stop, of what we arrived too late to prevent. I was 20 years old when I walked into Dachau. 20. Just a kid. I came out something else. Something older. Something broken. Something that had seen the absolute worst of humanity and couldn't forget it. They gave us medals, bronze stars, commendations for liberating the camps, for bearing witness, for doing our duty. I keep mine in a drawer. Don't look at it. Don't want to remember. But I remember anyway. Every day, every night, every time I close my eyes. People say we saved them, the survivors. Say we were heroes. Say we did something good. But we didn't save them. We just found them. Found them after 12 years. Found them after thousands had already died. Found them after the damage was irreparable. Found them too late. The man who grabbed my sleeve begging, I couldn't understand what he was saying, but I understand now. He was asking why. Why did this happen? Why did it take so long? Why didn't anyone stop it? I don't have an answer. Nobody does. We won the war. We defeated the Nazis. We liberated the camps. But we didn't prevent them. Didn't stop them soon enough. Didn't save the millions who died before we got there. That's what I brought home from Dachau. Not just the memories, not just the nightmares, but the knowledge that evil like that exists, that humans are capable of it, that we built systems to murder other humans efficiently, that we turned death into an industry, and the knowledge that good people, normal people, regular civilians can live next to it, can smell the smoke, can see the trains, can hear the screams, and do nothing, claim they didn't know, claim they couldn't have stopped it, claim they were powerless. I was in Dachau for less than a week, just a few days in April 1945. But I never left. Part of me is still there, standing in that train car full of bodies, watching the skeletal survivors try to walk, smelling that sweet, rotten smell that never goes away. They say we liberated Dachau, but Dachau didn't liberate me. It captured me, imprisoned me, sentenced me to life with those memories, those images, those sounds and smells and feelings. I survived the war, came home, got my life back, but I'm not really here. I'm still there. April 29th, 1945, 20 years old, walking through the gates of hell, realizing that hell isn't a place you go after you die. It's a place humans build on Earth, a place we create for each other. That's what I learned at Dachau. That's what I can't forget. That's what I'll carry with me until I die. We didn't win the war that day. We just found out what we were really fighting against, found out what we'd almost lost, found out what humans become when hatred becomes systematic, when cruelty becomes policy, when murder becomes routine. I was supposed to feel proud, feel like a liberator, feel like a hero. Instead, I just feel empty, hollowed out, like whatever was human in me died in that camp along with all those thousands of victims. The war ended in 1945, but I'm still fighting, still trying to understand, still trying to process, still trying to accept that what I saw was real, that humans did that to other humans, that the world allowed it for 12 years. Still trying to forgive myself for arriving too late to matter, still trapped in Dachau, still smelling the smoke, still hearing the moans, still seeing those skeletal hands reaching out, still failing to save them. Some prisoners wear chains, some prisoners wear uniforms, some prisoners wear the faces of the people they couldn't save. I wear them all, and I always will.